Hello, everyone. You are welcome once again to today's lesson. And in today's lesson, we are going to have a very short one. Okay, we are going to have a look at the solution to the assignment that was given in the previous lesson on sequences and series, elective math aspect of that. Okay, and as you can see on your screens, we have the question here. This was the question that was given to your assignment. Okay, as your assignment, and I'll walk you through the solution. And as I walk you through the solution, once the solution comes with marks, then obviously we are talking about marking scheme here. So you use the marking scheme equally to mark. And after that, please don't forget to capture, okay, your marked work and send it to me. At the normal circumstance, you are not supposed to do the marking. I'm only guiding you to mark so that you know what is expected of you anytime you are presenting your solution. If you know how to mark, definitely you should know how to present your solution. So after walking you through, please send your solution, your mark solution to me so that we'll go through and see whether there were the ones that needed expertise, professional to deal with. Okay, I will take care of that one as well. Okay, so with that much I do, okay, this is it. The question we're looking at recurrent sequence. Okay, recurrent sequence. And we're giving this question, the sequence use sub1. And in fact, it's supposed to be the sequence, not sequences. I picked this one from where I should have done this. So it's supposed to be sequence, not sequences. So the sequence use sub1, use sub2, use sub3, use sub4. Okay, given by this recurrence relation. So automatically you know that you are dealing with a recurrent sequence. So if you like, you can underline. Okay, then use sub n is equal to this the relation 1 plus 2 u sub n minus 1, n greater than or equal to 1, and u sub 1 is equal to 3. Find I. Okay, the second term, the third term, and the fourth term of that what recurrent sequence. Then you are supposed to find a formula for the u sub n. And whenever you are asked to find a formula for u sub n, we need a formula only in terms of n. Okay, so quickly, as always, anytime you read a question, the first thing that you write is solution, which is already typed here. Then after that, okay, you extract what is given in the question that will help you give us whatever that you are looking for. So the relation is very critical. And these two conditions attach the relation also equally important. So I have extracted them, so equally you must do same. So when you extract this, the whole of this, that will give you your B1. Okay, low hanging marks. You just extract, copy and paste and get this marks. So this more or less will be a freebie. All right, then I. Okay, we are supposed to find u sub 2, u sub 3, u sub 4. And remember in our previous lesson, we said, always let the inequality here guide you. Okay, the inequality in n guide you, okay, as to the n that you are supposed to start with. And we said the n must be integer or whole numbers, I should say. So n is greater than 1, so it means we have to start from the next whole number, which will be 2. So if n is equal to 2, we are going to get u sub 2. As you mature, I told you that you can choose not to write if n is equal to 2. When you substitute, you will know what's the substitution that you've gone for. So u sub 2, which is n is equal to 2 plus, okay, 2, then this will give us, the relation is n minus 1, by n is 2. So it will be 2 minus 1, which will give us sub 1. So u sub 1, because it will be 2 minus 1. That will also give you m1. Okay, so u sub 2, okay, would now be equal to 1 plus 2. U sub 1, the question said it is 3. So you come and substitute 3 there. That is m half. Just substitution for u sub 1. Then after that, you remove the bracket here. Then you add these two like terms, which will give us 7. So that will be a1. You come and do same for this one. Okay, and this one too, you started from 2. So it means the next one you have to go to if n is equal to 3. So if n is equal to 3, you are going to get u sub 3 is equal to 1 plus 2 u sub 3 minus 1. 3 minus 1 will give you 2. So it means this will now give us 2, just as this gave us 3, because we did a substitution for n. So at this point, you can see that we are looking for u sub 3. So we need to get a substitution for u sub 2. Thankfully, we know u sub 2 is 7 from here. So you substitute the 7. Okay, you remove the brackets, then you simplify, which again gives us 15. So this becomes a1. This will be m half. Okay, you do same for u sub 4. then that will be when n is equal to 4. So you get 1 u sub 4 is equal to 1 plus 2 u sub 3 because it will be 4 minus 1 for the sub here. And you substitute your u sub what 3, which is 15. And that gives us this. So it means, okay, your first value here is very important. If this first value is wrong, all that you are going to do will be wrong. Please take notes, because you will need the first value here. To get for the first value, I'm talking about this. It will come with a question, so you don't have to get, okay, it's wrong. This one day. So to Mabati, your first value that you are finding, which is the second term. If this is wrong, your third term will be wrong, and your fourth term equally will be wrong. Because your third term will depend on what? On your second term. And your fourth term will depend on what? Your third term. So if this is wrong, everything is wrong. So if you are taking your time to get the first one right, make sure you do. Okay, because you know per experience, that is key. Okay, so that will be it for the question, okay, I. Okay, let me take you through, finish, and after that, I will welcome all questions. So now, we need to find a formula for U sub n. In order to find a formula for U sub n, we need to know the actual sequence, unless we've been given S sub n formula, and we use that relationship between U sub n and S sub n. But here, you've not been given any S sub n formula. So we need the sequence itself. We found, okay, or we know the first 4 terms of the sequence. The question gave us the first term and asked us to find, okay, the next 3 terms, which we have found. So it means the sequence will be 3, 7, 15, 31, then your ellipses, comma, ellipses. Because remember we said the sequence, that's what you have there. You replace the U sub 1 up to U sub 4. So comma, ellipses. So your sequence is an infinite sequence. So it should reflect same here. Now, okay, we need to investigate whether this given sequence is an AP or a GP. And we said for an AP, you should get consecutive, okay, common difference, or we should get a common difference between consecutive terms. So in this case, if I take 7 minus 3, okay, Adoma, I said, let me finish, unless maybe I've written something which is wrong and you want to draw my attention to. Let me finish with it, then I'll welcome questions. Okay, so that I can flow. Okay, all right. So now, if you extract this, okay, which came from these values, B half. But like I was saying, what do? We want to investigate whether it's an AP or a GP. So AP, you should have a common difference between consecutive terms. 7 minus 3, obviously, will give us what? 4. Okay, and 15 minus 7 will not give us 4. So obviously, we know we are not dealing with an AP. Okay, so let's move on to our second sequence of convenience, which is the GP. Okay, is this a GP 7/3? Okay, that's my first ratio. The second one will give me 15 on 7. No, equally not what a GP, because I don't have a common ratio. And remember we said, anytime, even with this question, because the question said you are dealing with recurrence relation, okay, it wasn't necessary for you to test, but I am investigating the nature just because we have new students on board. Once you know that you are dealing with recurrence and you were told that every recurrence sequence, its U sub n will be given by this formula. So you quote it straight away. So in this case, I know U sub n will be equal to A plus S sub n minus 1, where A is the first term of the original sequence, which is this sequence. So I know A is equal to 3. And S sub n minus 1, okay, is the sum of the first n minus 1 terms of the sequence of difference, not the original sequence. So here, I don't know S sub n minus 1 because I need to get this from the sequence of difference. So that will inform me that I need to go and create or find my sequence of difference. So my sequence of difference, the first difference, which will become the first term of that sequence of difference, will be 7 minus 3, which is 4. The second one will be 15 minus 7, which is 8. The third one will be 31 minus what? 15, which is what? 16, and so on. Because your original sequence, okay, is infinite, your sequence of difference will equally be an infinite sequence. So take note. So that's exactly what we have here. If you're able to generate this one to B1. Okay, now if you investigate, you realize that your sequence of difference is a GP, because 8/4 will give you 2. 16/8 will give you 2. So we have a common ratio. So we write here, this is a GP, your sequence of difference. So for a GP, I will need my S sub n before I can generate the formula for S sub n minus 1. So you have to first of all find S sub n of your GP, and you use it to find S sub n minus 1, because the S sub n will be your parent function in terms of your parent sequence S sub. Okay, so here, S sub n we know. Check, your common ratio is 2. So remember, I gave you two formulas for the S sub n. One when your R is greater than 0, and one when your R is less than 0. And I told you, though, you can use any of them. But for conveniently, we can select the appropriate one, and negative will be dealt with. Okay, so in this case, because my R is 2, okay, my formula will be A sub D. And remember, I told you not to use A because of this conflict. So A sub D meaning the A of the sequence of difference, D for difference. Whoop in brackets, then your R to the power n minus 1. And here, I didn't write 1 minus R. Okay, that's not to say if you wrote R, 1 minus R, you'll be marked down. You will do a little more work, that's all. You will deal with the negative later. But if you quote the right one, this one is the formula for R greater than 1, and R is 2, which is greater than 1. So that will give R to the power n minus 1 all over R minus 1. So if you are able to quote this B1, or you quote the other one to be B1. Okay, so just the formula. Okay, and in this case, A sub D is the first term of what? Your sequence of difference, which is what? 4. And R is your common ratio of this sequence of difference, because all that you are doing here is with respect to your sequence of difference. So that will be 2. So now it means my S sub n minus 1, okay, will be equal to, so now the n here, I'm replacing it by n minus 1. The A will be 4, and the R will be 2. So it means this n here will also be n minus 1, because my new n is n minus 1. So that's what I did here all over. So I substituted n minus 1, A, and what? And R. Okay, they are corresponding values. Then I have that over there. At this point, okay, this is where your algebra will be tested. So you should know your denominator will be 1. So it means the next step, it will be 4 times only your numerator. What you have here, 4 times this, the denominator will be 1. So you choose not to write it. It's simply understood to be there. Okay, then you come and remove the bracket. So it will be 4 times this, then 4 times this, which will give you 4 times 2 to the power n minus 1 minus 4. But you know, like I told you in our previous meeting, anytime you are multiplying, check whether the numbers that you are multiplying, in this situation, you can write them to be of the same base. And obviously, you can write 4, okay, as 2 squared. So it will be 2 squared times this, then minus 4. And now you can write this as a base, a single base. Now you have 2 bases. So a base, your common base is 2, and you add the exponents. So it will be 2 plus n minus 1, which will give you 1 plus n. But I decided to write the n first. So if you write 1 plus n is the same as n plus 1. So that's okay, then minus 4. You don't need to change this one to 2 to any power, because it will not be useful. You can't combine it with anything. So at this point, this is just your S sub n minus 1. So once you know your S sub n minus 1 and you know your A, you are in a comfortable lead. Just go and substitute these two known parameters now into the formula for U sub n. So therefore, U sub n is equal to, remember our A is 3 plus S sub n minus 1. A simplified version is what we have here. But after substituting, you realize that you can still simplify. So this and this can be combined. That will give you -1. You shelve it, okay, and check whether the other term is positive. If it's positive, you write that one, then you bring the -1. And this is positive, you write that one first, then you bring your -1. You don't start with a negative term if there is at least one positive term. So with the marks allotted, okay, you can see for each of the steps that you have there. And the overall mark, the total marks will be 20. If you count, you realize that it will be 20. Please take note, whatever that you had after your counts, okay, over 20, that's what you write on top of your first page, if you have more than a page. So write your total that you had over the total of the question itself. If you can choose to circle it or not, it should be on top of your first page before you submit it. Okay, at this point, okay, all questions are welcome. So I'm waiting. Any questions?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Mr. Hackman,
Yes.
please, you see, in your solution, you didn't solve for U1, but then you had it to be 3, right?
No, it was given. So you are not supposed to solve for what you know.
Okay. Okay.
All right. Okay. So Prof. Inshira.
Please, have you seen the UN formula was also given in the question? So then why are they
The
asking
UN formula.
Yes.
Okay.
UN equal to 1 plus 2 U subscript n minus 1. Then why are they asking you to find UN again?
Okay. Anyway, an interesting question, but I wasn't expecting this question, but I will still answer. All right. Okay. So Prof. Inshira, this is it. Okay. You can see that anytime you are asked to find, when we were doing the AP and the GP, anytime you are asked to find the UN, even I said it in my introduction, I said anytime you are asked to find UN, your UN must be in terms of only N. Only your, I mean, you shouldn't have see any other letter apart from N on this side. Do you see any other letter apart from N on this side? Do you see any other letter?
N minus 1.
Oh, no. N is a letter here. Don't you see? Can't you see any other letter here? Or
Yes.
U is not a letter.
Use the letter, use the letter.
Okay, all right, okay. So obviously you can see that this one, okay, U sub N is written in terms of U and N here, but not in terms of N. Okay, so that's why, okay, so this one is more or less the recurrence relation. Okay, however, whenever we are looking for U sub N, okay, we are not looking at the U sub N, okay, in terms of another U. In terms of another, okay, term, we get it in terms of an N, as simple as that. So your relation, your final relation must really be in terms of N, unless otherwise stated. You get it?
Yes.
Okay, all right. Okay, Prof. Christine.
Mr. Hackman, please, the when I was solving it, after I read the question, I found the sequence of difference and I indicated that it's a GP before I came to write UN is equal to A plus SN minus 1. Is that also correct, or I
No,
have
it's
to do
there.
it the way?
The order, no, the order in which you have this doesn't really matter, or especially the formulas. Everything will be there, only that it will not be ordered in the way I have ordered my presentation. Is that not it?
Yes, please.
But my point is, you know, before you move on, investigate the nature of the sequence. The nature of the sequence that will help you quote any formula relating to the sequence. Is that not it?
Yes,
So
please.
going forward, I will advise that immediately you investigate and you realize that this sequence is what is neither an AP or nor a GP. Then you know you quote this formula. Or if the question told you, as you can see here, that this is a recurrence relation, you don't need to investigate. So you quote the formula straight away so that you know that this formula is related to this. Okay, then you predict
Yes,
whatever
please.
you can get from. So that, and you can see that the formula that I quoted here is related to this sequence, which is directly above it, so that you can easily relate. But how you state it, okay, it doesn't really matter.
Yes, please.
All right,
Thank you.
okay, you are welcome. So your B1, yeah, if anywhere you see this, just put the B1 there. It is there in your presentation, so we'll give it to you.
Yes, please.
All right, okay. Any other questions? Hello, if you want to ask any question, you put up your hand and I'll give you the opportunity to do so. All right. Okay, so those who were not part of the lesson, okay, the introduction to recurrent sequence, okay, please take note that you have the video sent to you. Watch it, it's very easy for you to relate. And as you watch it, I believe the solution here, you can really appreciate it. So at this point, thank you very much. Okay, God bless us for a successful lesson. Okay, once again. All right.